Hey guys, this is AI Gaming 1776 and we are playing Ghost Recon Wildlands in 1440p with a GTX 1070, which happens to be overclocked. We are using an overclocked 6600K, which happens to be water cooled. The graphics card is air cooled, but it is an EVGA for the win specimen, so it will still do fairly well overall, but it is definitely air cooled. The CPU again is water cooled. Everything is overclocked. The RAM is overclocked too, for that matter. DDR4, 16 gigabytes of it at 3200 megahertz. All right, so the reason we're recording this video is I want to talk to you about how this game performs on two different i5s that I've been using. Now we're recording, I'm giving you live commentary, so I'm talking and playing at the same time. But we're recording with Shadowplay. That way I can put a 1440p 60 FPS video onto YouTube. So far, not a lot of 1440p 60 FPS recording options in early 2017. I apologize for that, but that's just the nature of how things are. So if you want to see it in 1440p 60 FPS, I have to use Shadowplay. That does affect frame rate, as you can see. But I want you to see how good the game looks, and I want you to see how smoothly it plays. So anyway, I want to talk to you about the performance that I've seen with these two i5s. Now I used, again, this is a companion video to the best settings video. I did a best settings video and I used a weaker computer to do it. Now I did that for several reasons. One of the biggest reasons is I wanted to show that even the weaker computer could handle the game. And I'll put a link in the description. You can check it out. It's pretty similar performance to what you're seeing right now, to be honest. So that's what I want to talk about with you guys. Is I'm kind of surprised by how this game's been performing so far. Now, granted, I'm pretty sure we're playing in DX11. I could be wrong, but I'm almost sure. Yeah, it says it right there, D3D11. It says it in the Afterburner overlay. So we're playing in DX11 and it's currently the beginning of May in 2017, and maybe there'll be a DX12 update or some other, Vulkan update. I doubt it, but some kind of update in the future, and maybe the game will perform differently at that point, but this is how it performs right now. Anyway, and it's been out long enough that it's probably had updates and patches, I would imagine. I actually didn't get this game when it launched. I slept on it because so many reviews had a lot of bad things to say about it. And you know what? I actually liked the game better than I thought it would. So anyway, point being, I am surprised at the performance that I've seen with these two i5s, because I used a pretty humble i5 system in the last video, and it did well. It didn't quite do as well as this, but it did pretty close to it, and I didn't expect that. What I expected was that when I went to this system, that I would see some pretty big differences, right? Now, believe it or not, that's something I often see, is some pretty big differences. My Haswell 4690K i5 system, in all honesty, is my worst performing Intel system that I have. I have a non-overclocked 4790. That's an i7. I actually got that in a Dell, and then I repurposed it into a custom computer. That looks pretty nice. Anyway, so I've got an i7 4790. It's not overclocked. And then I've got a 6700 i7. Again, not overclocked. But then I have a 6700K overclocked to 4.7 gigahertz and water cooled. And then I also have another 6700K at my disposal at 4.6 gigahertz and also water cooled. And I have the 6600K. Now this is water cooled. It's 4.8 gigahertz. It's a pretty decent system right here. The system we're using in this video, 4.8 gigahertz, 6600K, and it's water cooled. Now granted, we're using an all-in-one, simple $99 cooler on it, but as you can see, 4.8 gigahertz, and yeah, I mean, we're in the 60s, but we're also recording. It usually stays in the 40s and 50s when I play. So normally this system right here will play open world games better than that Haswell system. Alright, I'm about to go in on this mission. It's just, I've been trying to do this thing over and over again without being detected. And I'm wondering if I'm going to make it or if I should just go ahead and go loud. Because I'm not sure if I can talk and not be detected at the same time. I'm probably going to get detected. Anyway, let me tell you about the Haswell system and why it normally doesn't perform as well. First of all, it's Haswell. Alright? That means it's on DDR3 RAM. DDR3 is slower than DDR4. Now, there's been a lot of people that say it doesn't make a difference, but guess what? In some games, it definitely seems to make a difference. I know whether you watch Linus or whoever your favorite person is, I've seen the videos too, and they say, oh, DDR4 doesn't make that big of a difference. Well, in my case, it has in open world games. Especially in Bethesda games. Why am I doing so poorly? Like the Bethesda, I said like Bethesda games, like Skyrim Special Edition, Fallout 4. But even in things like Grand Theft Auto 5, what was another one? I think Watch Dogs 2 performed better on this system also. And I think the DDR4 plays a role in that. And keep in mind, this is 3200 megahertz DDR4. Now, in the other system is 1800 megahertz DDR3. Anyway, there just usually is a difference. So let's talk about that Haswell system. It's DDR3. It's 1800 megahertz. There's usually a guy in here who trips me up. It's a mini ITX system that's passively cooled. There are no case fans. I'm using a Noctua air cooler in that one. But it's a really slim mini ITX case. It's a Silverstone. It's one of the slimmest ones they make. Oh, no. I'm trying to not be detected. Alright, so it's one of the slimmest Silverstone mini ITX cases you can get. So I've got this little Noctua cooler in it that just barely fits. Like it just barely fits in the case. So, oh, and that thing gets hot. It gets like into the 70s all the time. And it even, in the video I just posted, it got into the 80s. It got up to 85 at one point. Not for the whole video, but at one point. And again, it's because I think because I was recording with Shadow Play. So it's as hot, barely overclocked, 4.2 gigahertz, 4690K, and a mini ITX case, passively cooled. DDR3 18. Oh man, and I got caught. And then they're gonna say the lieutenant is making a run for it, probably. And I'm not even sure what happens if this lieutenant gets away. I know I failed some of these things before. When the lieutenant gets away. I'm running over here to the side of the house to see. He usually jumps in that car. Okay. Anyway, messed that up. So just all around, I mean, it's a little coffin. Whoa. It's a little coffin of a case, a mini ITX system, air cooling with a tiny, just like the smallest, saddest looking little CPU cooler that I've ever used. And the fan on it is just so small and so sad. It looks like a child's toy. Wonder where the lieutenant is. And this is a much more competent computer, all right? For starters, we're using case fans, all right? We've got case fans. We're using a mid-sized tower for the computer in this video. Mid-sized tower. It's got, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 case fans. I just took a look at it. Again, the CPU is water-cooled. The GPU in this one, this is even a stronger graphics card, if I didn't say that earlier. This is my EVGA for the win. It overclocks higher. It stays cooler. Just a stronger system. And honestly, it's not that much faster at this game. Now, interesting note, it's not been stuttering for me for the last hour of gameplay, but it stuttered earlier tonight. And I'm not sure why it was stuttering. Alright, now that matters because in that last video, I promised you guys that these settings played really smoothly. I was like, oh, these settings, they play so well. These are good settings, and even if the frame rate goes below 60, it's very smooth and it doesn't stutter and it's really great. And I promised you guys that in that last video, and I don't want to be a liar. The thing is, this system's not stuttering now. It did earlier though. So one thing that I've done since earlier is I restarted it a few times. I redid my overclock on the CPU. I moved it around. Let's see, what else did I do? I did up the overclock a little bit on the GPU, but the truth is the boost is at the same speed. If you look in the upper right hand corner, it says 2025. That's 2 gigahertz basically, 2025 megahertz for the boost speed. In case you don't know how these NVIDIA cards work, you have the base clock, and then you have what you overclock it to. You know, you put the offset on it. Now this is a factory overclock card, so it came overclocked, and then I added to it. I added to a card that was already overclocked. But then you got a third number. You got a third number, which is what it actually boosts to. And that even used to confuse me in the past, right? But anyway, this sucker's boosted to 2025 megahertz. So even after putting a higher manual offset on this, the boost is still the same as it was earlier. So 2025 megahertz, which is higher than the boost we had on the Zotac card. It was at 1962. All right. Let's do adaptive VSync. We've had VSync off the whole time. In case I didn't show you guys the graphics earlier, I'm pretty sure I did, but in case I didn't, here they are. You can pause if you need to. I do have a best settings video. I explain why I chose all these settings. And I'll also show you at a certain point in the video, I turn a bunch of them down to see how much higher I can get the frame rate by doing that. And that's all time stamped in the video description. Alright, let me let these people out of the cage, and then we will fast travel to like a forested area, or maybe we won't even have to fast travel. Do I get anything for this? I don't know. Alright. Let's go up here, back up here, then maybe we don't even have to fast travel. Now I do like, you know, we can take a helicopter. Let's do that. Alright, so the game does pretty well. It just went down to 48 frames per second, but like I said in the other video, even when this game is under 60 FPS, it feels pretty good. I have not, whoa. I have not felt the game chugging or stuttering or lagging or playing poorly in any way at all throughout the course of recording this. Look how good this looks. Look at just look at the detail for miles and miles, kilometers for some of y'all. It's kilometers in this game, and you know, in most of the world it's kilometers. In America it's miles. It's I don't know why we still use the system we do, but we do. It's what I was raised with. This is beautiful. Anyway, even when this game is below 60 FPS, even when you're recording with Shadowplay, it still feels really good. You have to get down to about 45 frames per second before you can really feel it. And I'm sensitive to these things. I am very much sensitive, very much picky very much a complainer. I am a person who bought into the whole PC gaming is worth it because it feels smooth and because it looks good and so on and so on. And costs a lot of money to do PC gaming compared to something like a PS4. Now I know you can make the argument the games are cheaper on PC. Don't get me wrong. I've been PC gaming for a while now. I'm aware of that. I'm just saying hardware wise, this graphics card costs more than a PS4. That's kind of my point. But no, I've bought into the PC gaming. You know, I definitely think it's worth it for smoothness. And I say all that to say that if this was not smooth, if this did not feel good, then it would not satisfy me. I wouldn't be okay with it. I wouldn't be showing it off to you guys. I wouldn't endorse these settings or this hardware or resolution or none of it. So this gets my seal of approval. It's pretty good. Except I will tell you, I don't know why it stuttered earlier. PC gaming is a weird thing, guys. I don't know if something I did in the process of resetting my overclock did anything. I don't know if just that little bit extra overclock that I put on the graphics card is what made it stop stuttering. But it wasn't a lot of stutter either, but it was some stutter. It was enough stutter that it was noticeable. It was like every 2 to 5 minutes. It wasn't often, but it was often enough. I mean, like in a 10-minute period, it could stutter 3 or 4 or 5 times versus this whole time I've been recording, I think it stuttered once. So, I mean, that's a noticeable difference, right? Here, is there a car down here? Yeah, there is. Let's take the car. Come on. I am not good with the helicopter. I've made that clear in the other video, but no, I'm not. I'm not good with the helicopter. Why are there dudes over here? I cleared these guys out yesterday, and I thought they were going to stay cleared out, to be honest. Alright. Anyway, if you want more information about the settings that we're using and why we're using these settings, I encourage you to go, oh, this is really terrible. Everything about what's happening right now is not good. I would encourage you guys to go check out that other video. I'm trying to drive through the woods right now to see if we go into the 40s for the frame rate. Because, spoiler alert, even when I'm not using shadow play, I have seen this hardware that we're using right now that I've spoken so highly of. I've seen it go into the 40s. We just went to 49 going over here. So now I'm trying to drive through the woods because driving through the woods will affect the frame rate. I saw it look a little bit smeary. Still felt smooth, but I saw the motion on the screen wasn't 100% smooth. This thing may not be driving quickly enough to really affect the frame rate too much. We'll see. We shall see. Oh, another thing, guys. When I talk about my hardware, look, I'm not trying to brag. I'm trying to explain to you in an objective manner what I'm using. Somebody, and I don't think they were being rude about it or anything, but they said they thought that I was bragging about one of my systems that I use for testing in a previous video. And it's not about bragging. It's about I need to objectively tell you guys. First of all, I need to show you how the game is performing, which I'm doing. And then I need to give you context. I need to say, well, this is the hardware that I'm using, and this is the speed that it's at, right? These are the settings and the speed and so on. I need to be able to tell you guys about this in an objective manner, and it's not bragging when I do that. Because I know there's more powerful systems out there, guys. I mean, this is an i5 chip. And then even my i7s, I mean, they're not that expensive. Some of the new AMD Ryzen chips cost more. Intel's got more expensive chips. I understand that, you know, this is not necessarily brag-worthy hardware. That's not the point. The point is to objectively tell you guys what it is we're working with. Okay, there we go. There we go. Dude jumped out. Can I tag it while I'm in the middle of this battle? Ooh, not good. Not good. I just want to tag. Oh no, we're that's the sniper rifle. Tag supplies. That's how you take the convoys, by the way, is you tag the supplies. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about that system. Can I have your truck, please? Por favor. Necesito tu coche. Alright. Yeah, look at... So, I'm not sure how this is going to look for you guys in the recording. I've noticed that for some reason in this game in particular, shadow play is darker than what I see. On my screen right now, this is very bright and very vivid. And on the last video, it was recorded with shadow play. It was not as vivid when I viewed the video back, right? Like when I watched the YouTube video. But this is very bright and very vivid on my screen. And with that said, there's a lot of contrast. Like when I look at the tree, here, let me point at it with my gun. This tree. When I look at that tree, especially the vantage it gave me when that was not correct. Anyway, the vantage from when I was in the car. So when I look at the tree like this, I see a lot of contrast in that tree, in the bark, in the different colorings and lightness of the leaves. Some leaves look bright green, some and look shiny, some look dull. I'm getting shot at while I try to talk about how leaves look. All right, go up in here, go on this dirt road. 50, 49. Yeah, this one, it's holding on better now, but I promise you, it went into the 40s earlier too. It may be that this little bit of extra overclock I put on this 1070 put it over the top. Now, the problem is, here's the problem. When I try to tell you guys how a game is going to perform, and I give you the demonstration, I really do. I want it to be something that you can replicate. Because if it plays great for me, and then you go buy the game or go buy some hardware, and then it doesn't play great for you, then I actually feel bad, right? Like I haven't done my job properly. I feel like I've let you guys down. So I need the game to play well for you guys. So here's where we're at. I have almost 14 hours of testing done on this game. And it didn't stutter very much at all on any of the other systems. And it stuttered a little bit on this system, and then it stopped. So that's where I'm at, right? I've tested it so far on 3 systems for almost 14 hours. I tested it on a Haswell i7 4790, a Haswell i5 4690K overclocked, and then this 6600K Skylake chip that's overclocked. And I've tested it with 2 different GTX 1070s, and again, almost no stuttering to speak of on 2 of the computers, and a little bit of stuttering on this computer. Again, it wasn't the end of the world, but it was there, and now it's not stuttering anymore. So when you guys play, is it going to stutter for you? I don't know. I sincerely hope it does not. That's the problem with PC gaming. And the funny thing is that of all the systems for it to stutter on, that it was this one. That it was the Skylake, at 4.8 gigahertz. Anywho, that's what's up. Hopefully these videos are helpful for you guys. My goal is to really do a service for the PC gaming community. And I'm not just saying that. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up my rear end or your rear end. I'm really trying to do this because not a lot of people do what I'm doing on this level, right? If someone just runs the benchmark, we have thousands of YouTubers, if not thousands, at least several dozen, easily several dozen YouTubers who get a game, get a graphics card, they run the benchmark, but they don't go, oh look, we were at 48 frames per second just now. They run the benchmark utility, but they don't go through the open world map like I'm doing and test various combinations of settings like I'm doing, and then test various hardware settings like I'm doing. A lot of these guys giving you benchmarks, they're doing it on one computer, maybe two computers, but I typically test on 4 or 5 different CPU platforms, some overclocked, some not, some with fast RAM, some with slow RAM. And then I have multiple GTX 1070s. I've got multiples of other cards too, for that matter. I have 2 RX 480s. In case you guys want to know about those, I actually plan on doing a Crossfire video. Crossfire with the RX 480s, I've noticed some very fun things. Some things not so great, some things really, really nice. Look how good that looks. Again, I don't know if this is going to be dark when you watch the YouTube video, but the sun is just like hammering this. And these textures love sunlight in this game. The textures look so good when the sun hits them. And if you've played this game in person, you'll know what I'm talking about. And then like all those individual blades of grass, all those leaves, just really nice. Anyway, so I do mean it though. I really am trying to do a service for the PC gaming community, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of people who don't show you all the stuff I show you. I'm showing you everything, right? I show you my CPU, my GPU, the frame rate, the VRAM, the system RAM. I mean, I could be more in depth. I could show you each individual core. All that really does, in my opinion, is that clutters the screen up. But sometimes it's worth doing it because people like to see, well, which core is getting hit, this, that, and the other. But especially when a game's playing well like this, I mean, this is playing fairly well, then I don't really sweat it when it comes to showing all the cores. So I could show all the cores. I could show frame times. I mean, there's more that I could have on the screen. I get that. But this isn't just a benchmark utility, and it's not just a fraps counter. And then I tell you guys exactly what's going on with my overclocks. I try not to leave much mystery. All right, I've been talking and waiting to go in this door, and then it turns out that's not even the door I go in. So I'm trying to see if this is something that would be... Well, what door do I go in, buddy? Oh, right. It would be this one? Huh. Okay, a couple things here. First of all, it's not letting me in the building. Second of all, my heat map is lit up red inside this building, meaning there are probably enemies in here. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do right now. I'm just trying to see really quickly if this could be like an interesting thing to show. Probably not at this point. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to end the video, and then this is actually, Prey is out right now. I already started the game for 2 seconds. And when it comes to making money on YouTube, I could be putting a Prey video up tonight. But I wanted to make sure I got some information out to you guys. A little follow-up to that last video. Because honestly, it makes me feel bad when somebody goes and buys a game or buys hardware based on one of my videos. And then they come in a comment and they're like, look, man, the game didn't play well for me. It wouldn't quit stuttering, or I couldn't get the frame rates you got, or whatever the case is. So that's why I try to make it a habit. 14 hours of testing just this game on 3 systems. I have more systems to go. When I did Mass Effect Andromeda, I tested it for 45 hours, 45 hours before I'd put my first video up. My only video that I've put up. Because Mass Effect Andromeda, different planets have different frame rates. And the problem with that is you got to play the game for a long time to unlock some of the planets. So I had to play that game and play that game and play that game and keep testing in order to give you guys accurate information. And a lot of YouTubers are not doing that. And it's not even just YouTubers. I'm not trying to throw salt on YouTubers. It's PC gamers. for whatever reason, man, there's a lot of people who run the benchmark utility. They have the game open. Like if you go into their Steam, it'll be like time played less than 1 hour. And they're already putting videos up on the internet, not giving you guys the full story. And that's a problem. Look, the PC gaming is complex, I'll give it that. But we should have more accurate information in our community than we currently do. And part of the reason that we don't have more accurate information is we let people get away with just playing the game for less than an hour, running the benchmark utility, putting a video on the internet, and here's what happens. I'm going to have people watch this video, and in the comments they're going to say, hey man, I saw another video that said something different. And I'm like, okay, let me see that video. And then I go and look at the video, and it's some dude who just ran the benchmark utility. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not even a fair comparison. The benchmarking utility is only going to get you so far, right? It doesn't take a lot of things into account. When you actually play the game, that's when things start breaking. That's when, you know, the stuff hits the fan. So anyway, I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna try to figure out how to get into this building. Then I'm gonna play Prey, and if I can get, I might make a video for Prey. Obviously, I won't have enough time in it to make a definitive statement on performance, unless the game just plays so freaking awesomely that it's well above 60 FPS, no stuttering whatsoever. Then maybe I'll be able to say something about performance. But even then, I'm always nervous with these games. A lot of times the first third or the first half will perform well, and then in the second half there's problems. Look at Rise of the Tomb Raider. Until you get to the Soviet installation, that game plays pretty well. You get to the Soviet installation, the frame rate goes down a little bit, and then you get to the geothermal valley and it goes down a lot. Right? Like I've seen the frame rate go down 20, 30 frames per second in the geothermal valley. So the point to that is I'm always nervous about making videos. I played this for 14 hours before I even came to you guys with my results. And even then, you want to see how much of the game I haven't seen? Yeah. This game's ridiculous. I've seen... What is that? Maybe 20%? Maybe? I think it's about 20%. Like, I know it's hard to show. Maybe less. But around a fifth of the game is... And that's nothing. That's nothing. There might be like this really tragically poorly performing part of the map later on. I don't think I'm going to run into that with this game, but I could. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you guys see such an issue. If you're like, nah, man, in 20 more hours, you'll see the frame rate tanks in this one part, and it could happen. Even Doom 2016 has areas in that game, some of them early on, where it goes below 60 FPS. I don't care if you're using a GTX 1080. It goes below 60 FPS. And then, when I first got to the underworld in that game, I saw a huge drop in the frame rate. So the first few hours of Doom played awesomely for me. And I was like, oh, Doom plays great. And everyone says it plays great. And it's playing great for me. And then I ran into performance issues in that game. Now, granted, I try to push the settings. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at these settings, they're pushed. And in Doom, I pushed them there too. I try to push settings when I play games. I want the settings to be up pretty nicely. I want the game to be pretty. I want the game to look good, but I also want it to be smooth. I want it to have a good frame rate. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Here we go. This has been AI Gaming 1776. I test games for a long time on multiple hardware configurations. I take a lot of things into account. All right, again, different RAM speeds, different CPUs, overclocked, not overclocked, water cooled, air cooled, mid tower. I got a full size tower system. I've got two different mini ITX systems. I've got another mini ITX system that actually does really well. It's I don't use it for testing much because it has Windows 8 on it. I need to get Windows 10 for it. But it's a I can't think of their name right now. It's the brand. It's a really popular brand, Fractal. It's Fractal. It's a Fractal Mini ITX Slim case. It actually has case fans cooling it. And I put a low TDP 6700 in it, i7, specifically so it wouldn't get hot. Plus it has case fans. So it actually runs fairly quietly. I've got the fans turned down in it. So the temps still go into the 60s and 70s in that one. But I'm not overclocking it anyway. And it's not throttling. And it's fairly quiet. It's a nice livable HTPC, if you will. How the F do I get in here? Is this a mission? I do want to know how to get in here. I really do. Alright, I'm going to have to figure that out. But anyway, I test these things for a long time on a lot of different platforms. I try to show you guys how to make a game look pretty, how to make it feel good, how to make it be smooth, how to make it be nice, and I try to be honest with you. And I buy all this hardware with my own money. I buy all these games with my own money, and I'm trying to get back to the PC gaming community, alright? That's what's up. Hopefully you guys appreciate it. If you do, please like the videos. Please share the videos. I don't even ask people to subscribe that often, although subscribing helps, so please subscribe. But it seems that, in all honesty, views, likes, and comments really, really matter. Almost more than subscriber count, but subscribers really help too. I want you to subscribe. I'd like you to be around, but I don't want to necessarily, force you to be around if you don't want to. But I'm just saying, if these videos are helpful, like them and share them, because that helps me out. And if this channel were to become successful enough, I could test more hardware and I could test more games. And if I start getting games early, I could test games sooner, and I would be doing all of that for you. And hopefully it's a nice, big, mutually beneficial situation. I know, really, I want to figure out how to get in this building, so I'm going to get off here and I'm going to do that. Thanks for watching, guys. I love you very much. Hopefully these videos have been helpful for you. I will be testing this game with my i7 systems next. Once I saw that it did what I would call well enough, fairly well, pretty nice with i5s, I thought I'd go ahead and get that info out there. And if i7s do better, I'll let you know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Every game is different, man. Sometimes having an i7 definitely helps, and then sometimes it's not that big of a deal. So we'll find out. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Love you very much. Peace out.